Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we're super happy to have you here. And if you've been listening and enjoying for a while, I would be super grateful if you would please take a moment to give us a review on Apple Podcasts. It's one of the best and simplest ways to pay it forward and help others find the show so that they too can tap into the powerful perspectives and positive vibrations we are collectively emanating. The other unique and magical way to share this show is by sending any friends you think would benefit from listening to this podcast our Game with the Universe link at positivehead.com/game. Also listed in the show notes, which will serve them up a quote-unquote random episode when they click it. Just instruct them before clicking the link to close their eyes for a moment and sincerely ask the universe to cue up the episode that contains the insight and perspectives that they most need to hear at this point in their life journey, and then click to listen to whatever episode is synchronistically served up to them. I have heard time and time again from people about the incredible results they received playing the game. So just tell your friends magical results are guaranteed or their karma back.
All right, all you positive heads, welcome one and all. I am super excited that you've joined me today on this magical today. And today is one of those extra specially magical todays where I have a very special guest with me. And my special guest today has been on the show before. Today I have Aaron Gannon with me. He is a dear friend and an amazing breathwork practitioner. And I wanted to have him on the show today to talk about breathwork and his own technique that he's developed. So Aaron, thank you so much for being with me.
Oh, it's so good to be back, Erica. We always have so much fun, and I love you so much.
I love you so much. And I love having you on because you're so insightful. And I would love for you to share some of your insights with our family here at Positive Heads.
Yeah, well, it's great to be here at a time when breathwork is coming to a rise and people are curious, like, what is it? And they're experiencing it and they're feeling a lot and they're getting access to a lot. And I the first time I did it, which was like this was 9 years ago, it was direct access. Direct access to my higher self, direct access to presence. That's really what it's about. It's about presence. Yeah. And the breath is that bridge. It's the bridge of, some people want to call it spirit. But the presence is really the way to let in the light. Light is the best disinfectant. And people, it's just wonderful to see how people share their the gifts that have come from breath work. And the other day I had someone say, I got a few years of therapy done without as much talking.
Yeah.
And it was just in a session.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because what I always like to say too on the show is that we have all these answers within us. And when we're connecting in this way with the breath and we get this direct connection, because really that's all it takes.
Yeah.
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 It's that stillness and then the listening, because in a breathwork session, just talk about what it's like, because for the people who maybe just hear breathwork and think, how is breathing helpful? So, I mean, obviously breathing is helpful, but talk about what an experience of a golden breathwork session, which is the breathwork technique that you have created.
Yes, yeah.
So talk about this specifically and what this is like.
Well, what I realized the first time I did breathwork with it was that it was so powerful, and it was actually a little confronting for me. And I didn't do breathwork after that for I think it was 6 months. It really showed me a lot, and I didn't have the tool to integrate it. Sometimes this work, it really should be considered. Some people, I should say, call it medicine. And there's a reason for that, is because there's a potency to it. And we don't take medicine every day, right? So there was a calling, I guess, to create a more sacred context and technique that balances the medicine of the breath and the presence that is possible even when you're not doing the medicine. And so, yes, it is diaphragmatic, which if people have never done breath work, that means you're breathing through your mouth and you're breathing into this lower belly region, the water region, where, we have all of these watery organs that get programmed by unprocessed thoughts and emotions. So when we breathe there, it unlocks awareness there. And that can be confronting, which it was for me. And it also was a very physical experience. In the beginning, I realized it can be a very energetic, physio-energetic experience. But then there is this other breath, and it's the gentle nose breath. And this is the unsexy breath. This is like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I was coaxed into, doing this thing where I'm hiring someone to teach me to breathe so easily and so intuitively, but presently. And that is the key, presence. And so what is that breath? That breath is breathing in and out through your nose, and it's where your exhale is longer. And what that does is it helps you to slow down the heart rate a little bit more and enter into that parasympathetic state. The parasympathetic nervous system is the doorway to self-healing. The response in your body when you are in a parasympathetic state is you feel peaceful. Or you'll feel a little more presence in your extremities in your body. They feel like warmer or heavier or tingly or dry. But it also brings a presence to that doorway to the heart, which is also where your dorsal vagal complex is. And that is the doorway to saying, hey, right hippocampus in the brain, can you send that signal to the heart to just slow down a little bit more? And can you turn on my self-healing nervous system? And that is the key to golden breath. The golden breath is the parasympathetic breath. But sometimes we need a medicinal breath to open up access so that we can have a more natural, gentle nose breath. If we have years, maybe generations of constriction in our bellies, we need to breathe into that. So that's why we have the medicine breath. But then once you have that access to that gentle, spacious breath, because you don't have as much tension there in the belly, then what comes after the belly as you rise up? The heart. And then what comes after that? The divine. And your direct access. Divine is another word for something greater than yourself that is you. You're connected. And that, that was the other joy of the breath when I first did it, and what it continues to be for me is access to something that is a greater perspective than what I'm stuck in sometimes when I'm in this 3D world, which we are all. And thank God, I'm glad I've got a body.
Yeah.
Because then I can go through this amazingly magical experience that starts to reflect itself through our daily lives. It doesn't have to be something ecstatic, because we'll see the synchronicity, we'll see the sign. The heart will say, yep, and we'll also have a balanced mind in the body that guides us. So it's not just this higher state. It's also not just the body. It's mind, heart, body integration with golden breath.
And what I love about it is all of this can be done through something as simple and as subtle as the breath, because that's how spirit works.
Yeah.
Spirit is so subtle. The energy of spirit is defined by subtlety, first of all, right? So to work with spirit, to understand that it is subtle, and it doesn't have to be this huge bam moment. And a lot of us almost expect that in healing, to have this kind of explosion. Yes, absolutely. And it's not, those are great.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Of course, those are wonderful.
Yeah.
But the daily practice, the daily work, is in the subtlety.
Yeah.
And we can go so deep with these simple techniques.
Yeah. And the technique is not mine, this gentle nose breath. I mean, the original, there's some people who are listening who maybe are interested in biohacking, or some that are on the yogic path. The masters of long, long lineages know in all of those, in both of those worlds, and in the others that are interested in breath, that we have a parasympathetic nervous system that when we're in it, it turns on chi flow. And we don't have to effort to do it, meaning we don't have to start pumping that heart, pumping the sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight, where it then releases lots of cortisol. It releases lots of, in the long run, corrosive chemicals and also a corrosive mindset that we've got to fight it or we got to run away from it. And so that's the gift that this breath that this breath gives is the direct access to that part of your nervous system. And a lot of people don't even realize that they're in a fight or flight state.
Right.
So I would say all
Get
of my
used to
so many people, especially we Westerners, right? Because we, we're the fire, we're the young, we're the bringing in the new.
Gotta go. Yeah.
Right. And that's great. The sympathetic nervous system isn't bad. I mean, thank God
No,
I've got
it's necessary.
that. Yeah, because otherwise we wouldn't
us.
have been like, oh shoot, we've got to do this interview now. Otherwise,
Or I gotta run from that bear that's chasing me.
Yeah.
And guess what? I can run really fast now because I have all this adrenaline pumping.
right.
And here's what's cool about what you were just saying is that the energy matches the physical with this in so many ways. Because when we are in a fight or flight,
yeah.
when we are in that, did I say it wrong?
Well, you got more of the fight aspect in you, so I don't want you to ignore that part. You got that. You got that, Erica. I love it.
Oh, what was I gonna say? Yes, when we're in that fight or flight though, like our bowels don't move. We can't move those lower functions
Tension.
because they're not supposed to move when we need to run. Right? And so they can only move when we are in this parasympathetic state.
Yeah.
Right?
And
like if you're running from an attacker, it's not time to go to the bathroom.
Right. So the other totally, and the key, the science or the spiritual science, we'll call it, that it's rooted in also is something called heart rate variability, HRV. And what that means is that you have a flexible nervous system. It means, okay, I've got to be focused, heart rate going up, focus coming in, boom, boom, boom. And then when you are not needing to be in that state, you have a flexible nervous system that will automatically regulate back down into the parasympathetic. That is a sign of good heart rate variability, which if people do not know, heart rate variability is a leading indicator of longevity, of health, of connection, of sensitivity. It means that we can notice the things in the proper context in our bodies and in our whole understanding of the matrix so that we can be sensitive to it and then move through beyond that confinement of what we think is happening in that moment.
That is so beautiful. And too, because of course the heart is at the center.
Yeah.
Of course it is. The heart is at the center.
Yeah.
And it's just like, when I think about the heart being at the center, when we develop as humans, the very first thing that you can see on an ultrasound is this tiny little light.
Yeah.
And it's the heart.
Yeah.
Right?
Beautiful.
Right?
I feel it right now.
Yeah. Yeah. But to be able to have this practice,
Yeah.
to where you can just naturally flow back into the state when the running isn't needed.
Right.
That you naturally just kind of set back in, because otherwise without the practice, what often happens, our nervous system is so on edge that even when we're not running and we are sitting, we're still on edge. Our heart's on edge. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And one thing, actually, if you're listening right now, and you're not driving a car, but you can be a little focused, or even while you're driving is actually a nice time to do it. Just don't, zone out. Is what would it feel like if you breathed through the back of your heart? Like, what does that feel like? Is just trying to breathe through. I mean, you feel that?
Oh, yeah.
That is the doorway. And you didn't have to do a big
Right.
No, we just brought our feeling awareness through the pores of skin at the back of our heart. We're breathing with awareness. at the back of our heart center. And that is the dorsal vagal complex. Again, that's the doorway to your parasympathetic nervous system response. And of course, people can be in a sympathetic response because they maybe are dealing with inflammation. There could be body issues. There can be mind issues. But the doorway of the heart with the breath is the single greatest tool that I have found. And, I practice Qigong. I teach Qigong. That's very helpful for me. But this one breath of breathing gently, parasympathetic nervous system through the back of the heart center and spine, it's why I'm able to be more high functioning, why I'm able to also improve my spiritual connection and practice, meaning insight, meaning inspiration, meaning so many benefits come from this. And I don't want to downplay either, like this rise of the diaphragmatic breath, this open mouth breath, because it is necessary right now. I mean, let's not forget we just came out of this pretty traumatic period of feeling of constriction, and people can feel like that no matter what, any time in their life, and that's why people come back to the breath even after a few years, and they're like, I want to do another session. I need to do it. I forget to do the diaphragmatic breath sometimes, and it's great to reconnect with my fellow practitioners because then we breathe each other. And it's every time I come back to it, I have my own personal practice that I do for, 10, 15 minutes, but a full session of diaphragmatic breath with the parasympathetic breath, it's so powerful, and it gets so much work done in such a small amount of time.
Yeah, especially when you're opening a doorway like that.
Yeah.
Well, what I love about that too is, we all kind of know that when things are getting a little stressful, that we can just take a moment and take a breath. But what you've just told everyone is giving them a little extra. And to help that even be more efficient, right? To really focus into that area of the body and feel into it that way. And that's like a reset.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got it right there, right now.
Right there,
you can do it right now.
Yep.
You don't have to search for the next, guru or the next technique. You have direct access to it through your gentle nose breath. And there's a ideal way to do it. I mean, we do want to breathe fewer than 7 breaths a minute. That's a lot of the science has shown that that's really helpful to not have as rapid of a breath when we're doing the gentle nose breath. Anyways, I'm getting into numbers. What I love about this thing I'm doing that's been coming through for the last 9 years, and it's taken me all around the world, is that it brings direct access to divinity.
And that's what matters. That's what we're all here remembering, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the fun part of this game, the remembrance.
Well, I have a question.
Huh.
You did this work, what was it, like a year ago, I think we did a session.
Yeah, it was fabulous.
What was the big thing you got out of it?
I was really surprised how easy it was to connect in this way.
Yeah.
Because I've been doing this journeying too for myself for a long time, and I just didn't expect to be able to pop in to a deep meditative state by just focusing on my breath in this way. And then what I learned from all the things I was shown, and there was a lot of emotional release. I mean, there was a lot going on.
Yeah.
And I was surprised by all of it because I wasn't expecting any of it. I just went in really open-minded, like, sure, I'll breathe with you, Aaron. And then I start crying, and I have all these visions and understandings and things. So it was wonderful. Yeah. But this is what I love, because it's the same stuff I do, helping people understand this aspect within ourselves, and knowing that we always have this connection, and it's so easy to tap into. It really is. It just takes a little practice. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you understand it. Oh, it is easy.
Yep.
But you got to practice it to get it.
Yep. You got to practice it. So that's why it is helpful to have a guide.
Yes.
In the beginning, especially when you have that emotional release, because you want to know that someone is there, and you want to know that you can make it through, and you will. Mm-hmm. You will. No one has ever died breathing. No.
That's awesome. So I love it too. And you have traveled the world doing this, and not always using your specific technique, but all the different types of breath work techniques. And you even go and work with Greg Braden and some other breath work. Jesus, this is really hard to say sometimes.
Breath work.
But you go and you travel across the world doing that too, don't you?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's been.
And we love Greg Braden. He's wonderful. You know.
Yeah, Greg is wonderful. He's definitely been this a helpful bridge for people, in between the spirit and the science. Mm-hmm. And his path has been really true. And we just got back from Sedona, actually, mm-hmm. And we had more than 300 breathers. And it's you can't see it because you're listening to this, but I've got a big smile because it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful to see people breathe. For the first time, and we were in this context. We were in a big basketball gym. Mm-hmm. It was like
a big auditorium.
Yeah, and yet everyone, I would say, had that I heard of that I breathed and talked with afterward had direct access and had. It can be such transformational work. So I am grateful for Greg for putting breathwork out front as a direct access self-healing modality.
I love it. It's, I mean, we can all do this,
Yes,
we can all do it. I love it. It's really the easiest, simplest thing to do. And so learning it, having a guide, to be able to then have this practice on your own, and then, maybe checking back in with that guide a year later, 2 years later, whenever you need. I think that's a beautiful practice.
Yeah. Maybe to take this out, this wonderful interview, or whenever we decide to, but maybe I can guide the listeners just with the gentle breath.
Beautiful.
And we can put on some beautiful music, just the gentle breath, where we breathe through the nose. So let me just summarize this gentle nose breath. The doorway to your parasympathetic, your self-healing nervous system, is in and out through the nose, where you're not filling your lungs all the way. It's just a pretty natural inhale that's nourishing. And then you exhale through the nose, where it's a little extended. And you can extend your exhale by putting a little bit of tension at the back of your throat. In yoga, we call it Ujjayi breath. But it's even half the tension of Ujjayi. It's just very, like if you had your mouth open, it would sound like this. But you have your mouth closed. Mm-hmm. Can you hear that?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a continuous loop of breath, so you don't take any pauses. You keep breathing. Once you get to the top of the breath, the top of the mountain, you head right back down on the exhale. And then at the end of the exhale, which is not extended too much, meaning you don't want tension to form in your belly, you breathe right back in. And it's continuous. And then the last part, and I would say it's one of the most important parts, is the heart part. And that is breathing through the back side of your heart center and spine. So in and out through the pores of skin. You can do that. It might seem like magic, but it's not. It's just spatial awareness in your body. And that you'll start to maybe notice 1% more softness in that region. We're not looking for ecstatic. We're not looking for, wow, the flower of life is pouring open from my heart center. It may and will do that, but we just got to do 1% more softness. Can we tune into that? So that is the gentle nose, the HRV, the parasympathetic, all these, they're the same name. And when you combine it with with the diaphragmatic breath, I call it golden breath work. So it's the parasympathetic breath and the diaphragmatic breath is the golden breath work. So maybe just practice that with this song that we're going to play for you.
And how can everyone find you?
Okay, yeah. Just on my website, aarongannon.com, AARONGANNON.com. And I do have a little magenta button on the site, and it says free 30-minute breath analysis and mini session. And that's open to anyone.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Very nice. Awesome. Well, anything else? Anything else you want to share before we head out for the day?
I want to just say that you and I do some pretty similar work because it is about trusting too. It's about surrendering and trusting in that inner knowing that's there and going with that. And I'm starting to send some of my clients to you because you have such a skill at opening the space for people to go deeper into that knowing that comes through in golden breathwork sessions, where you are connecting in ways that you maybe didn't think would be possible. Right. And so I'm just grateful to have you as a friend and to be here now, sharing this amazing work at an amazing time that is just such a gift.
Oh, so. You're a gift. I love you so much.
Love you too, Erica.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
And you're going to play a song that you would play during a breathwork session?
Yeah.
Right.
That song, I know we played the more upbeat one, which is the diaphragmatic before this, but I want to actually play that gentle one.
Yeah, play the gentle one so that they can actually experience doing the breath with it.
Yeah, that gentle nose breath, because that's the safe one to do on your own. Like you're not, that the more rapid one you're going to want to do with supervision at first, in part so that you just know that you're doing it right, but also so that you don't become too activated, because you don't want to go too far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always good to have a guide. Always good to have a guide. You're the best guide. I love you so much. And that will do it for us today. We are going to leave you with this beautiful song that Aaron plays during his breathwork called Floating by Seismic Shift. Until next time, we love you all.